Battle for the Royal Lodge. How Prince Andrew has taken up a very nerdy hobby in his palatial Windsor home while he refuses to be ousted. Little by little Prince Andrew is being prized out of Royal Lodge, his palatial Windsor home. The latest revelation that the king is no longer prepared to meet the cost of providing its security is surely a sign that his brother's grip on the mansion is loosening. And yet there has been barely a murmur of protest, not even from those staunch friends who usually like to remind observers at such times that the Duke of York has a cast-iron 75-year lease on the property he inherited on the death of his grandmother, the Queen Mother. Welcome to Royal Pancakes. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell, so you don't miss any news about the British monarchy. Was this, then, the moment that Andrew finally threw in the towel, acknowledging that the loss of the 10-man privately funded guards who patrol the grounds of the house and its 98-acre estate means he can no longer afford to safely stay there? Or will he produce yet another rabbit from the hat, as he did when he came up with £200,000 for essential repairs to the roof in order to remain in the place he considers his family home and where he likes to entertain his 3 grandchildren? Meeting the bill for security guards on anything like the scale that the king has would seem to be beyond him. Charles, after all, has been paying it ever since Andrew's £3 million a year armed police detail was removed by the Home Office after he stepped down from official duties amid the scandal over his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. With no discernible income beyond a modest Royal Navy pension, Andrew also relies on his brother for a living allowance, thought to be in excess of £1 million a year. If he were to lose that handout too, he would not just be funding his own security but also the housekeepers, butlers and gardeners, plus the constant renovations, that make Royal Lodge such a desirable and comfortable retreat. In its grandiose magnitude, the 31-room pile has come to define both the prince's extravagance and his folly. And now, it seems, his future. For Andrew, with all his years of princely entitlement, however, it is not just a matter of prestige. Royal Lodge has been his family home since 2003. It's where his daughters Beatrice and Eugenie enjoyed their teenage years and where his ex-wife Fergie still lives with him in an amicable post-divorce arrangement. And it provided him with a much-needed refuge after his royal world collapsed amid the storm over his links to the American financier Epstein, who killed himself in prison 5 years ago. For most of the 21 years of his occupancy there was no threat to his tenure, but the death of Queen Elizabeth changed all that. Even after his disgrace, his mother had no wish to force him out. But his brother, who now controls the royal purse strings, takes the view that a house with such a historic pedigree should be the residence of working royals. And having lost his military titles and patronages, Andrew is no longer one. To the king, who hates idleness, the optics of a man such as Andrew, who spends his days riding, practicing his golf swing and, extraordinarily, immersed in an airline flight app residing in such a grand manner, are not good either. That the king is no longer prepared to meet the cost of providing security at Royal Lodge is surely a sign that his brother's grip on the mansion is loosening. His outings are few these days and tend to involve trips to the Windsor Castle Mews, where grooms regularly saddle a horse for him to ride out in the park. Sometimes Prince Edward loyally joins him, and to the private golf course in the castle grounds he helped lay out. This year, an additional diversion, I understand, has been a live flight tracker, which he has projected via his home computer onto a large screen which shows air traffic in real time. The one-time helicopter pilot, commended for his bravery in the Falklands War flying decoy missions to draw Argentine missiles away from the ships of the British task force, is able to watch flights landing and taking off at airports all over the globe. According to a visitor to Royal Lodge, the prince has become obsessed by the app beloved of planospotter nerds. What makes this saga so endlessly fascinating is that Andrew and Charles have this week been together under one roof at Balmoral Castle, where the royal family are gathered for their traditional summer holiday. But it would be wrong to assume that the housing issue was a topic of conversation between the king and his brother. Indeed, It may not even have been raised. Charles does not like confrontation at the best of times, and especially when he is on holiday, says a friend. They are not in each other's pockets at Balmoral and probably only regularly see one another at dinner. This summer the king needs rest more than ever. The cancer treatment has been tiring and it makes him often fall asleep. I can't think of anything guaranteed to make him go off the deep end than to have Royal Lodge brought up. It is also likely that Camilla will be protecting her husband to ensure he doesn't get upset or exhausted. At Christmas, Andrew did try to get a meeting with the king and she kept him at arm's length, says the friend.